We're here with Toby Rice, President and CEO of EQT Corporation. Toby, you've been such an advocate for Pennsylvania, for America, to achieve dominance in the global race for AI and investment. It's wonderful to have you here. And I think the best way to start, we're in Pittsburgh, where EQT is based. Tell us, what is Pittsburgh doing, what is Pennsylvania doing that really sets it up to win in this global race?
Well, Pittsburgh is going to be the home for the next major AI hub for America. Some of the reasons why Pittsburgh is winning this is because we're home to one of the biggest parts of the value chain that's really preventing us from reaching the full potential with AI. We're talking about access to energy. It's been incredibly difficult to get energy infrastructure built in this country over the last 2 decades. And so people are saying, well, if we can't build pipelines out of the region, let's just bring our facilities directly to where the energy is produced. So it's actually an incredibly efficient operation. We've got the energy, we've got the transport, we've got the brownfield sites, we've got a lot of retired coal facilities. They're already connected to the grid, so we can just drop in some natural gas power plants, get them hooked back up. So there's a lot of natural advantages here, but one thing I think that makes Pittsburgh truly unique is the fact that this is the place that has launched massive industrial capacity for the benefit of this country. Whether you're talking about the coal industry that started here, or the steel that built this country, or the natural gas industry in this region, just in the last 15 years, has gone from producing fractional amounts of natural gas, 2 BCF a day, which would be less than 2% of the country's supply, to over 35% of the country's natural gas. This is the biggest gas field in the world, and it was created here in the last 15 years. So this is a region that really understands industry, embraces industry, and can build the industry of the future.
Now, some of those advantages that you mentioned are natural resources. Not every state in the country can claim to have that, but what are some of the things and the advantages of Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania broadly that you feel other states can view as a model and that the country as a whole can embrace to ensure that the whole nation benefits and can compete globally?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of perspectives on what is best and what policy should be put in place when it relates to industry. I think Pittsburgh is in Pennsylvania in general, is a really great example on how we can listen to those environmental concerns for us, specifically about hydraulic fracturing, and we can still continue on to capitalize on the value of these vast natural resources and do it safely and do it environmentally responsibly. And when you step back, when you understand how to apply industry appropriately, amazing things happen, like the tremendous economic stimulus that's occurred here in Pennsylvania, and the fact that this natural gas has been one of the reasons why the United States is the world leader in lowering global emissions. 60% of our emissions gains, or reductions for that matter, have come from doing one thing, replacing coal with natural gas. So Pennsylvania is a really great example of how we can have both a security for our economy, while also safeguarding and improving the environmental conditions of our planet.
And I heard you talk a lot on your panel about permitting reform and really making the point that this could be a bipartisan issue. Talk a little bit more about what you would like to see and what you think is possible.
Yeah, so this is what we need to get to. Right now, we're in a position where it's incredibly difficult to get things built in this country. I mean, it took an act of Congress to get the last major pipeline, Mountain Valley Pipeline, America's most valuable pipeline. It's an asset that we own, so we're very familiar with the challenges that go along with it. And the reason of how we found ourselves here is very simple. It's because we have a situation where political force has overwhelmed market forces. Now we're looking at the market forces that are screaming right now for more AI, more reliable power generation, and unfortunately our regulatory system is not set up to meet the speed. So what we need to do is we need to get back to a place where we can get things built in this country. That means we need to have massive permitting reform, which I'm excited about and optimistic that will happen, because as you mentioned, there will be bipartisan support on AI. Look at the event we just had here a couple months ago in July.
Yep.
We had unity. That's the only way I would describe it. Every leader wants to see this happen. And when it comes about energy and energy infrastructure, there's also a ton of unity there. Every politician I've met wants more affordable energy, they want more reliable energy, and they want cleaner energy. So we're excited about the infrastructure we'll build to meet that. But one of the things that if I could steer people into what to focus on, one, we need to have some judicial reform. Right now, projects, even when they get permitted, they get yanked because of litigation. MVP was an example, had their permits 2 or 3 times. So we need to safeguard the permitting process against frivolous litigation. That's one. And the other thing I'd say, the opportunity, is for us to find ways to incentivize attributes of the energy system that are needed to meet what AI needs. And the attribute that AI needs It needs cost-effective energy, but most importantly, it needs reliable energy. And so is there an opportunity for us to incentivize the reliability of our energy systems? I think if we can do those things, we will be able to let the industry get built what the market needs.
And look, I think one great case study in doing those things is Homer City, and I know EQT is playing a big role in that. Tell us about the project, what it means for the company, for the state, and really as a model for what the country can embrace.
Yeah, absolutely massive is how I would describe Homer City. Over 3,500 acres, over 4 gigawatts of power. I mean, this wow. Site is almost large enough to power New York City. I mean, these are the type of massive, large-scale projects that this AI revolution is going to require. So Homer City is certainly unique in its size, but the impact it's going to create, not only from powering AI, but the construction jobs. We're thinking over 10,000 construction jobs for that site. For Pittsburgh, just to make that relative to some of the people in this area, we saw one of the last big industrial complexes built was the Shell cracker facility, was over 6,000 construction jobs. So just this one site is going to be almost 2 times as many construction jobs. That's going to stimulate the entire economy, not just the people that are directly related in the value chain with AI. But then you step back and you look, that's not the only large-scale facility built. We're also going to be supplying natural gas to a facility in Shippingport, the Bruce Mansfield site. It's going to require even more natural gas. And you start stacking up the jobs. And one thing that gets us excited about this region is, as we've seen, by the fact that 80% of the data centers in the US are in one region of the world, in Virginia, this cluster effect is a big thing. So these first few large-scale facilities are going to set the table for us to continue to bolt on and enable that cluster effect. So while these opportunities are massive and it's huge, it can only get bigger.
Fantastic. And look, to shift gears for a second to more of a personal question, I know you put on the hat every day as President and CEO of EQT and the work that you just referenced and the amazing progress that you're making. But I know this is personal for you. I feel the passion in your voice. I feel that passion too. Tell me a little bit about what drives you, because you're taking on more than just the role of a job. You're taking on really the role of a modern industrialist. And it's something that we haven't seen in this country for a long time, certainly from someone that's younger than a lot of the guys in boardrooms. What is that like for you? What drives you? And just tell us about just the vision and ambition you have for yourself.
Yeah, I'm driven by 2 things, profits and purpose. And I think it's really important that we keep those both in check. My interest in energy started back in the early 2000s when America found itself in a very dire situation, sort of like how we find ourselves here. We have a tremendous energy need. How are we going to meet it? Back then, it was we were running out of energy. We were running out of oil and gas. OPEC was eating our lunch. It was one of the greatest transfers of wealth in human history, and the future was very bleak. What happened? We had the Shillennials were born. We cracked the code on shale, and the Shillennials transformed America from being energy dependent to being an energy powerhouse on the world stage. Right now, America, we are the world's largest energy producer, producing more energy than Russia and Saudi Arabia combined. We did that. That's innovation. That's the power of industry. That's also protected America, because we're not energy dependent anymore. We are energy dependent, and now we are moving to becoming energy dominant. And energy dominant means that our tech industry can have all the energy they need to meet their ambitions. Energy dominance means our allies around the world have their energy security from the US with LNG. And they're not reliant on petro dictators like Russia for their energy security, because we saw how that played out. And I'd say, stepping back, a bigger thing for me at the root cause of this, when I sold Rice Energy back in 2017, I was 35 years old. I was looking for what I was going to do next in my life, and for me, fortunately, the money was not the motivating factor. For me, I wanted to make an impact. And I looked at all the ways that you can make an impact in this world. You can be an educator, you can get into politics, you can start a nonprofit, all great things. But I saw one chart, and it was a chart between energy consumption and human progress. And this chart was striking. The more energy people use, the better the quality of life. The more energy people use, the longer they live. The more energy people use, the more technology they have available, the wealthier they are. So if you want to make an impact in this world, find a way to bring more energy into it. So now, sitting in my current role here at EQT, we're going to make the world a better place, by unleashing US LNG, unleashing the AI revolution, and just bringing more energy in this world, because despite the fact that when we look around, we see Americans have a pretty healthy lifestyle, realize that billions around the world are living on less electricity than it takes to run a fridge. So we've done a tremendous amount of work lifting the developed world out of poverty. Now we need to set our sights in doing it even more. The need is greater.
Well, we're grateful for the work that you're doing, and thank you for joining us. Toby Rice, President and CEO of EQT Corporation.
Thanks.